Today we are doing another NHL Over or Under. It's been about 3 months since I've done one of these, so I figured it was time to do another. If you don't know how this works, pretty much you guys give me a player and a point total or a player and a goal total, and I pick out a couple and predict if I think the player will get over or under that total this upcoming season. It also works with goalies and like save percentage. I put up the post for you guys to comment on late last night, and at the time I'm recording this video there's well over 400 comments on that post, so thank you to everybody who left a comment. There was a ton to go through. Also, one thing I should mention is this is based off of an 82 game season, even though the 2020-21 season isn't going to be 82 games, but it still works because let's say if it's like a 48 game season, you can take the player's point total, see what pace they were scoring at and what their point total probably would have been if it were an 82 game season, so it still does pretty much work the same. Before we get into it though, be sure to go follow my social medias like Instagram and Twitter, links will be down below. And more importantly, if this is your first time on the channel and you want to see more NHL videos just like this one, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and now let's begin. The first comment of the video comes from Stephen F, who says Carter Hart 920 save percentage. This is a pretty good one because while yes, Carter Hart is an amazing young goaltender, in his first couple of seasons he has yet to put up a 920. In the playoffs he was amazing though. I think he had a 926. I'm gonna take the over on this one. I'm a big fan of Carter Hart. I think he's only going to continue to get better, and I feel like the Flyers might be one of the better teams in the league this upcoming season, so that should definitely make it a little bit easier for him. This next comment comes from Brendan, who says Shea Theodore 60 points. This past season was a big coming out party for Shea Theodore, not just offensively, but overall his complete game was fantastic. He was one of the better defensemen in the league. Also in the playoffs he had 19 points in 20 games, but 60 is a whole lot. I think I'm going to play it safe on this one and take the under. One thing you do have to consider is 16 of Shea Theodore's 47 regular season points this past season came on the power play, and now that Alex Pietrangelo's coming in, is Shea Theodore still going to get those top power play minutes? Even though Theodore would still be on that second power play unit, I don't think he'd put up as many power play points as he did this past season, and if that's the case, I don't really think he has a shot at hitting 60 total points. Moving along now, this next comment comes from Alex from Cooks, who says Zadina will score around 20 goals and record around 40 points. That's right around where my expectations are for him. He scored at about a 20 goal pace last year. He just didn't play in a whole lot of games. He's looked really good to start this season in the Czech League. I'm going to take the over on this one, but I feel like it'll probably be slightly over, like maybe 45 points max. Next up, from random Rangers fan, Josh Anderson bounces back on the Habs with a 20 goal 50 point season. Obviously Josh Anderson had a really rough year this past season, couldn't stay healthy, and in the 26 games or so that he played he only had 1 goal. I definitely do think Josh Anderson can bounce back though. We've seen him score 27 goals in a season before, and if Montreal didn't think he could bounce back, they wouldn't have traded for him and gave him such a big contract extension. Now as far as this over or under, I'm going to break it into 2 parts. For the 20 goals, I'm going to take the over. I think Josh Anderson can be in like that 20 to 25 goal range, but for the 50 points I'm going to take the under on that one. Anderson is the type of player that I see having like a 20 to 25 goal season, but then only putting up like 15 assists. He's not a big playmaker, so again, over on the goals, but under on the total points. This next comment comes from Nathan, who says Zibenajad scores 45 goals in 82 game season. Obviously Zibenajad had 41 in just 57 games this past season. He was 3rd in the entire NHL in goals per game. Now I know Rangers fans won't like me saying this, but I'm not sure if that is sustainable for Zibenajad. He's a great player. I think he can consistently score 30 goals, be up there around a point per game, but I'm not sure if he's going to have another goal scoring season like the one that he just had. So I'm going to take the under on this one. I think he'll be in like that 35 to 40 goal range, which isn't even that far under the 45. Next up, this is a little bit of a different one from Eric71, who says Ryan Reaves 200 hits. I'm taking the over on this one 1000%. He's broken the 300 hit mark in each of the past 2 seasons. That is pretty much what Reeves' job is. It's to go out there and hit everything that moves. If he's playing a full season, he's gonna get 200 hits and probably a lot more. Moving along now, this one comes from Flaming Storm, who says Elias Pettersson 90 points in 82 games. Pettersson had 66 points in 68 games this past season, so it would be a pretty significant jump in his point totals, but give me the over on this one for sure. To me, Pettersson is a guy who's gonna have 100 point seasons in his career. I definitely wouldn't be shocked shocked if he wins a Hart Trophy or two in his career either. Pettersson's incredible. He's already one of the top centers in the NHL, and I think it's only a matter of time before he has an explosive offensive season. Next up, we have a comment from Michael who says Jesse Puljujarvi gets 20 plus goals and 50 plus points. I'm really excited to see how Jesse Puljujarvi comes over and plays. I definitely think he's going to be better than the last time we seen him in the NHL. In terms of what his goal total and what his point total could look like, I think a lot of it just depends on where he plays in the lineup. I mean, obviously, right, he's going to put up more points and goals if he plays with McDavid and Draisaitl than if he's playing with Jujhar Khaira. So over or under 20 goals and 50 points. This is a tough one because I feel like he'll be in like that range of 20 goals and 50 points. I'm going to take the over because I feel like they are going to give him every opportunity to play with somebody like Connor McDavid, and I'm really hoping he just has a solid year, because if he doesn't and it's similar to the way it was before when he was on the Oilers, if you think there's a lot of people that think he's a bust right now, it's going to be even worse then. Next up from 37 Will Dog, Ilya Sorokin, over under 920 save percentage. I talked about Sorokin a good bit in my Calder Trophy Dark Horses video that I made the other day. We looked at the numbers he's put up in the KHL over the past 5-6 seasons, and they're pretty ridiculous. This one is obviously a lot tougher than the others because we've never seen Sorokin play a single NHL game, but we saw how good Shesterkin was when he came over. We saw how good Samsonov was when he came over, so I don't really see any reason why Sorokin can't be just as good as those guys, or maybe even better. Also, it just seems like any goaltender that goes to the Islanders over the past couple of seasons just plays incredible, so I'm gonna go ahead and take the over on this one. Continuing on, this comment comes from Rania Hussain. I hope I'm saying your name properly. I apologize if I butchered it, but this person says Cody Glass steps up and gets 20 goals alongside 50 points, over or under. I think there's a really good chance we see Cody Glass have a big year. You look at this Vegas team on paper, they're pretty stacked. There's not many holes in that roster, but one question I have is who's going to be that second line center? Since they traded Paul Stastny, I feel like the two candidates to be that second line center are Cody Glass and Chandler Stevenson. Ideally, you probably would rather have Stevenson as your third line center and Cody Glass as the second line center. If I'm not mistaken, I think Cody Glass was playing in between Stone and Pacioretty to start last season, so I feel like Vegas probably wants him to step into that role, and if he does play a full season, you know, centering Stone and Pacioretty, I think 20 goals and 50 points is very achievable, so I'm going to take the over on this one. Moving along now to the next comment. This one comes from Ryan, who says Craig Smith 45 points. Craig Smith obviously signed with Boston this offseason in free agency. He had 31 points in 69 games for Nashville last season, so 45 points over or under. He's only ever had 2 seasons with more than 45 points. I'm going to take the under on this one, but I think it's going to be really close. Like, I could see him having 20 goals and 20 assists for 40 points, something like that, but I definitely could be wrong, and I wouldn't really be surprised if he surpasses that, especially because David Pastrnak is more than likely going to miss some time, so Craig Smith might be Boston's top line right winger to start the season, you know, playing with Patrice Bergeron, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. This next comment comes from Leafs Forever, who says over under Matthews 55 goals. 55 is a lot. He had 47 this past season in 70 games. Without a doubt, Matthews is one of the best goal scorers in the entire NHL, but he still has yet to hit 50 in a single season, so I'm gonna play it safe here and take the under, but I do think it's gonna be really close. Now, just as a bit of a refresher, remember this is hypothetical. If it's a 48 game season, Matthews obviously isn't scoring 55. We're just talking about what pace they would score at over an 82 game season. Next up, we have a comment from Zaid. Hopefully I'm saying that right, but they say Gaudreau over or under 80 points. Had a bit of a disappointing season last year after the explosive year before. That is definitely true. Johnny Gaudreau and Monahan as well both had pretty disappointing years compared to them being one of the best duos in the entire league in the 2018-19 season. So over under Gaudreau 80 points. I'm going to take the over. I think he bounces back. He's already had 2 seasons in his career of 80 or more points. 18-19 season, like I said, he was dynamite, almost had 100 points. So I'm definitely counting on seeing Gaudreau's points per game jump back up this upcoming season. Everybody has a down year now and then. Moving on now, this next comment comes from John Kennedy, who says Ryan Donato finally gets a break and earns a spot on San Jose's second line, scoring 25 goals and 55 plus points over a 70 plus game season. I really like the addition of Ryan Donato for the Sharks. When healthy, their top 6 wingers are pretty good. You got Kane and Meyer, and then LeBanc and Donato maybe on the second line. And then, of course, down the middle, they get a nice 1-2 punch with Logan Couture and Thomas Hertl. I'm getting off topic here, though, so back to Ryan Donato. I think 25 goals and 45 plus points might be a little bit steep. My expectations are in the same ballpark as what you're proposing. I think he'll be like 15 to 20 goals, you know, maybe 35 to 40 points. So I'm going to take the under, but it's not by a whole lot. Next up, this comment comes from GTAC13, who says over under Barzal 70 points. You'd think this would be a no-brainer and that he could easily achieve this, but with the system Barry Trotz has the Islanders playing, nobody really puts up a whole lot of points. I mean, there's a reason Barzal's career high in points Trotz came in his rookie season, the year Trotz wasn't there. And don't get it twisted, I'm not saying the way they play under Trotz is bad at all. It's obviously worked out really well for them over the past couple of seasons. It's just not really that fun to watch. That being said though, I am gonna take the over on this. Barzal is just such a dynamic offensive player. He's one of the best playmakers in the entire NHL. His skating is unbelievable. I definitely would not be shocked if Barzal's like a point a game player this upcoming season, even with the way that the Islanders play. Moving on now, this comment comes from Excel Breaker, who says Conor Garland 30 goals. Garland actually led the Coyotes in goals this past season with 22 in just 68 games. It was a really big breakthrough year for him. Do I see him as like a 30 goal scorer though? I'm not sure. I could see him having a year similar to the one that he just had, you know, in the 20 to 25 goal range again. So I'm gonna take the under on this one, and I don't really know if I see anyone on Arizona scoring 30 goals. The Coyotes just don't score a lot. Next up from Robert Durston, Pierre-Luc Dubois over under 70 points. This past season, his point total was down from the year prior. He only had 49, but in the playoffs, to me, Pierre-Luc Dubois looked like a player ready to take that next step. I'm gonna bank on that happening. Whether it does happen or not, we're gonna have to wait and see, but I'll take the over on 70 points. This next comment comes from Eliminator, who says over under Brady Tkachuk having 30 goals this year. So Brady Tkachuk's heading into his third NHL season now. He scored 20 plus goals in each of his first 2 seasons. I think Brady Tkachuk's only going to continue to get better. The hope is that Ottawa is a better team as well, so maybe that leads to him getting a couple more goals. And to me, he has all the tools to be a 30 goal scorer, so I'm going to take the over on this one. And even if it doesn't happen this upcoming season, I think it's a lock that he has a 30 goal season one day. Next, we have a comment from Hockey, who says Sod 60 over or under. I'm assuming you mean points here. I'm probably going to take the under. I really do like the addition of Brendan Saad for the Avalanche, but he hasn't had a 60-point season in his entire career just yet, so I'm not really expecting him to now that he's in Colorado. I mean, he's played with some real talented players in Chicago over the years, so I feel like if it was going to happen, it probably would have happened already. I'm more so expecting Brendan Saad to, come in, give them 20 goals, and be in like that 45 to 50-point range. That's pretty much what he's hovered around for his entire career. And now for the final comment of the video, we'll finish off with a goalie one here from Noob Nation. Price 922 save percentage now that he has a decent backup. I have really high hopes for the Canadiens this upcoming season. I really like a lot of their off-season moves. Yes, getting Jake Allen is expensive. You have a lot of money tied up in 2 goaltenders now, but a solid, reliable backup that can take the load off Carey Price is something that they've needed for a while now. Having Jake Allen now, I think, is going to make Price's life a lot easier. So over under a 922 save percentage. The last time he's had a 922 or above was the 2016-17 season. He had a 923. I'm going to take the under. 922 is pretty high, but I don't think it's going to be that much under. I'd say he's going to be in like the 915 to 920 range, something like that. But that is going to wrap up today's NHL Over or Under. Like I said at the start of the video, thank you so much to everybody who left a comment on the post. If you guys do want to see more interactive videos like this where your comment has a chance to be featured, then just let me know down below in the comment section. If you did enjoy the video, please be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. And of course, if you guys are new to the channel and you want to see more NHL content like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all in the next video.